Help me out right here, man. Because, you know, we all look the same, right? We look like, all of us look black up here, but we're from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, so to speak. We don't always see each other the same way, do we? Do we, though?
I would say not always, not always.
Right. You know, why do you think that's the case?
I mean, honestly, that's a deep question. I feel like that was probably by design.
Designed by who?
I don't want to be too vague. I'm going to keep it a little vague.
We're going to keep it real. That's what we're going to do right now.
Keep it real.
Okay, I'll say.
Come on, Dulo, you've been on here before.
Okay, yeah. By design, by the power at B. I think we all know what that means, the power at B.
Break it down for the people that don't understand, because there are some people that's going to feign ignorance. So we're going to say it. You saying by non-blacks?
Non-blacks.
Okay, we'll put it out there. Okay, the man.
By non-blacks, the man.
We'll put it
and I'll say it's by design because I guess when we were brought here, you know, you know that term divide and conquer? I feel like that was put in a place to do exactly what it did do. But I know the topic is the divide, but I feel like this generation, I would call us the millennials, we're doing a good job in reversing that division, so to speak. And I think what gives us a good leverage is that it's social media. A lot of things that people are ignorant, we're ignorant to. The things that the things that the power at B kind of use to divide us because of social media and the internet. Those things aren't really taken into play anymore. For instance, can I give you an example? I remember once upon a time for me, I was told I used to be called an African booty scratcher. When I came back from Nigeria, I had a deep accent. I had a pretty deep accent. So when I was in school, I mean, people, just because of my accent, they would call me African booty scratcher.
Wow.
Or sort of something like, because I have an accent, or even the food that my parents cooked, you know. In Africa, Nigeria, so I'm Nigerian. We eat goat meat, you know, we cook goat meat.
Right.
And you know, when you cook, I mean, you could have greens, collard greens, so on and so forth, mac and cheese, you know, those scents might seep into your clothing. All right, so I'll go to school, probably smell like a little bit of curry goat, jollof rice, and you know, people will kind of like make fun of me, call me African booty scratcher because of that. But essentially, I say, just to go back to that division, I mean, that's what we all were eating before we came over here. So that divide was definitely by design.
You see it the same way?
Yes.
Right? Why? You're Caribbean.
Yeah.
You have goat meat. You like curry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you think it comes from, though?
I think it comes from us not understanding where we all come from and how it's the same. So because we have been labeled as other, and then we see what amongst us is favored by the other, then we look at what's amongst us and we choose what's better, what's not, and then it further divides us. And then our ignorance, like you said, of other ethnicities we don't know. We're not educated on that in school, so it's just like further dividing us.
Right. B. Watts, why we buy into that, man?
It's a lack of knowledge. Like they said, you're not informed on a certain thing, so if you're not knowledgeable about something, you may call somebody African booty scratcher. I remember when I was younger, we really didn't have, I really wasn't around in the small town I'm from. I really didn't have a lot of Africans that were in my town. Like,
you grew up in Texas, right?
Yes.
Small town in Texas?
Yes, sir, about 45 minutes away from Dallas.
Okay, so you saw 45, so I used to live in Texas.
Okay.
Some whites, blacks, Mexicans.
All that.
That's it.
All
you
that.
didn't see other blacks that were like from Africa, from the Caribbean and places like that?
Growing up, I don't remember seeing a lot of them. We would use the term African booty scratcher, but it was just like, I'm just capping on you. Shut up, you African booty scratcher. Not really knowing like that could be really offensive to somebody that's really from Africa. It was just like, just a lack of knowledge. You just throwing it out there, you know what I'm saying, but you may offend somebody really. So if you don't understand stuff, you don't take the time to study and get to know somebody for who they really are, then you can just, the ignorance can just take over and you can just be lost.
It's all ignorance, Donny.
Yeah, it's all ignorance. Why do we even talk to each other like that? Like, why do we divide ourselves? Why do you think that?
I mean, I don't think it's, like I said, I think it's by design, and it's something that we're reversing right now, especially people in our age group. With social media, for instance, I want to even say, for instance, just yesterday and 2 days ago, Cardi B, who was a very influential figure here in America, who was also not American. She's Dominican.
Puerto Rican.
She's Puerto Rican.
The Dominican.
Exactly. She just came back from Nigeria. And she blasted all through our social media. I'm extremely certain that people who had perspective of Nigeria, a lot of people think Africa is just sticks and bricks and muds and huts, which is not the case. And she was able to show them, you know, the celebration that they were having there. I mean, lights. Obviously, people think that Africa there are no lights and all, you know, people are riding horses and stuff like that or goats. But now with social media, you're able to show that. You know, you can't pay for that. That's the education that they won't teach you in school. Like, oh, look, when you go to Africa, you can also have a good time like that.
See, that's all I don't understand. Like, we got the internet. We got Google. Y'all got Google. Everybody see it. It ain't just National Geographic, right? You know, and I actually went to Africa last year for the first time. Went to Ghana. You know, they want the return. 2019 is a return to Ghana, return back to your roots and whatnot. And I was in Accra. And Accra is the capital. And it's like, it is a city. It's like New York City. And of course, they have parts of Africa that's in the jungle, in the bush, or whatever. But hell, you got parts of America that's the country.
Right.
You know what I mean? And every part of America is not like that. So why do we look at ourselves as if, specifically about Africa, that you guys are like on zebras and you guys have spears and chuck and things like that? Let me do a little, can I do a little experiment right here? Because I want to see how we look at each other. Now, I'm talking about growing up, before you got that knowledge, before you knew more about what you know now. How did you view, I want you to look at both of these ethnicities, backgrounds, whatever, and when you grew up, how did you view somebody from Nigeria and how did you view somebody from the Caribbean?
Black.
You saw them just as black?
Yeah, they just like me. If somebody spoke with a little different, like, made question like why you talk like that or where you from, but growing up I never really just got in depth to it like that. Where you from? What are your cultures? How were you raised? What did you do growing up? What did you do for fun? How were your parents? Never asked any questions like that. It's just, okay, he black, we black, all right. The whites, Hispanics, and whoever else are is over there. It really just didn't get too in depth with it growing up. So I just looked at everybody who looked like me as me.
So he might not see that here in America, but I know sometimes like Nigerians and Africans and somebody from the Caribbean, sometimes they look at African Americans a little bit differently. Wouldn't you say, Amani? Just a look, come on, let's keep it real now.
Yeah, I mean, I can keep it real. I mean, I definitely do identify with like growing up as being Black. I don't really identify as being Caribbean completely, but I do have a parts of my childhood and my upbringing that are, if I speak to other people, like, oh yeah, that's definitely more Caribbean than it is the African American experience. And like growing up, I will say like Africans, like it was taught like they're rich in culture, but even though they're here, like they're still Black and they're going to be viewed as Black. And you know, African Americans, it's like kind of like a lost, you know, community. Like they don't have roots, and it's hard for them to identify, and they're always going to struggle, you know.
Right.
So those are the two things that were in mind.
What images I seen, well, I would look at Africans different from what I seen on TV, Dulo. So a lot of things they showed us about being African. On TV, you look at, oh, he's singing from the jungle, this and that, you know, got spears in their hand. So that's what I was ignorant about looking at Africans on TV as growing up, as a kid. You know what I mean? But I knew better than that as I got older, you know, because they don't teach us nothing about our African heritage when we're in school, period.
Absolutely, and I think, like I said, I study sociology at Hampton University in Virginia, and I feel like everything is, especially here in America, here in America we running on a functionalist society, which means everything that happens is for a reason. Prime example, crime. If we didn't want crime, that means we wouldn't need judges. If we didn't need judges, we wouldn't need the jail, so on and so forth. So we need crime to happen. They don't want crime at an all-time minimal, because if there's no crime, there are no judges needed.
No jobs.
So exactly. Exactly. So with that being said, just it's what they want to teach us. Not that it's what they want to teach us. It's what they want you to know. They don't want us to want to go back to Africa. Right. Or you see somebody say, oh, they're struggling. All they need is 4 cents a day to eat in Africa. Why would I even want to go there? Right. That's the thing. Essentially, it's a psychological thing that's been done that deters us from wanting to go back home.
Those are the images that we see in Africa. We might see in the Caribbean or some of the smaller islands like Haiti or whatnot. And you might see poor people, and you might have all these, but also people overseas. That's how they also have a view of us as well, and what they see and what they show in Africa, whatever the media puts out there, whatnot. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, because a lot of times it's not necessarily the perception that we have of one another. It's what y'all put, what you perpetrate. You know what I mean? What you put out there. So I'm gonna tell you what I've heard about each group. Okay, and this is just a breakdown. But when you hear this, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Nigerians. They're smart, always educated. Think they're better than everybody else. Always think they're more educated, right? I'm gonna let you. Just always kind of looking down on other African Americans, and don't like it when African Americans call themselves African Americans because they're not African. Let me tell you about what I hear about Caribbeans and what Caribbean people sometimes may do. Now, this is just what I gathered from some of my friends, whatever. So this is my research. Extra hard working. Y'all got about 5 or 6 jobs. Think Americans are lazy and don't care as much about education, bottom line. And both of y'all feel like real football is soccer. That's what I heard. That's the bottom line. So when you hear those stereotypes, though, when you feel like it's being put out there about the education part, what goes through your mind?
When I hear those stereotypes, I feel, obviously, I'd be wrong to say out of the entire population of Nigerians, not a percentage feels that way. I'd be wrong to say that, right? But what goes through my mind is that essentially it takes a little bit of time to get to know individuals. I don't think we can generalize each Nigerian as, in those stereotypes. That's why they're stereotypes.
Right.
So.
You feel like you said it was true?
I feel like there's a percentage of Nigerians who definitely might say that. Not all.
But a lot of times, I guess what we're trying to get at the root of the issue, the root of the problem that we have is that we do have this racial divide and how we view each other. And we all up here understand that there is an ignorance. But there are a lot of people out there that don't see their ignorance. So our job tonight is to help them to understand their ignorance so they can turn that around and understand that, what you're putting out there is the perception that other people have of you. You understand what I'm saying? So like I was married to a Caribbean lady, and I would hear from her family sometimes, not necessarily about me, because they weren't talking about me, but they were talking about Americans. And like, you guys are lazy. Just basically say that. Americans are lazy. I heard him say that. And that's the type of, images that they thought about us as African Americans. Did you ever hear anything like that coming from any other groups?
About the lazy part of the education?
Yeah, lazy, educated, we're uneducated, we're lazy.
As far as the education part, when I got to college, I went to Sam Houston State University in Texas, in Huntsville. I met a lot of African students and friends, whatever, and that stereotype about how they're smarter and their parents always push them to go to education, sports. It's a guy right now from Houston named Toby. He's a rapper. He would tell about how his parents would always push him. You need to go to school. You need to go graduate. Go do this. Be a doctor, a lawyer. You don't need to be a rapper. Da 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 da. But it's always push education. But it's probably because I'm assuming their struggle is different.
Yeah.
Our struggle, we may have to deal with a little racism here and there, but like the stereotypical African, or they're living in poverty, they don't have a lot, they wearing sandals everywhere, that type of stuff. Like, they got to come from that type of stuff. They got to worry about sleeping outside and rain getting in their house, whatever. We got air conditioning. We just worried about, I can't get no rims on my car. Like,
Right.
I'm saying our struggle is a lot different. So it's like, man, we got to get out of here, the poverty situation that we're in. We got to try to make it to a greater level in our life, just build some generational wealth for ourselves.
Was you taught that, Dulo?
I was definitely taught that. How do I put it? Like I said, I study sociology. But I'm actually the first one out of all my siblings to go to college, right? So my parents are extremely proud of me. And just really to piggyback off of what he said as far as where you come from. And I feel like, especially to the Caribbean question that you asked, like, I feel like us coming to it, like Africans or immigrants in general, we come here like with really big eyes, because it's like there are opportunities here that they weren't afforded where we come from, right? And so I think like when a Caribbean person or when an African person or Nigerian might feel like, oh, you're lazy, especially the older generation who don't really have a soft tongue. They don't necessarily know how to communicate exactly how they feel, right? And so it might come off harsh as like, oh, you're lazy, but essentially what they see is, okay, I mean, where they came from, I mean, just to get water, they had to fetch water.
Right. That's a good point. Is it different because you grew up here? Like you were born here, right?
I was born here, but I was raised in Nigeria.
You were born, okay, right. But so you saw both sides
Absolutely.
of it. The people who live in Nigeria, they come over here that's not used to the Americans, they have that image or that stereotype that we have. So you hear more of a harsh tongue when you hear from them, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So you might see, or even like our parents, they were raised they had to fetch their water maybe out of a well in order to take a shower. And then they might come here to America and they'll ask their child, hey, can you go get me a cup of water from the fridge? Right. And it's a big deal.
That's
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
so when it says like you're lazy, there's certain things, but they probably don't know how to communicate in depth what they mean by, oh, you're lazy. But it comes from I feel like it comes from a very, very rational point when they say that. And it takes communication, proper communication, in order for us to understand where they're coming from. And when you see, okay, they're calling me lazy, what is it? As an African American, you might need to be like, okay, just put yourself in their position. Oh man, if I lived in Nigeria in that predicament, and I'm here now, I'll probably be doing a little bit more than I'm doing now.
Wow. Give them a round of applause for that. That's you know.